Creating meaningful organizations isn't about printing our values on coffee mugs. Robert Bellah, the sociologist who studied American culture, called it practices of commitment, stuff you actually do repeatedly that builds meaning over time. Like going to the gym but for your organization's soul. Narrative practices. Tell stories that matter. Humans are wired for stories. We literally cannot understand ourselves or our world without them. David Boy, who studies organizational storytelling, says companies need narrative infrastructure, basically built in ways for stories to flow. IDEO, the design firm that created Apple's first mouse, does something brilliant. Every month they have storytelling dinners. Not PowerPoint presentations about quarterly metrics. Just people sharing moments when their work touched actual humans. A designer talks about the kid who can finally hold a pencil because of a medical device they created. Another describes watching refugees use an app they built to find their families. These aren't feel-good propaganda sessions. Michael Gazzaniga, the neuroscientist who studies split-brain patients, discovered that our left brain has this thing he calls the interpreter. It's constantly making up stories to explain what's happening to us. If you don't feed it meaningful stories, it creates cynical ones. We're just cogs in the machine becomes the default narrative. There's no neutral. Either you're actively creating meaning or you're breeding cynicism. Ritual practices. Create moments that bond. Arnold van Gennep, the anthropologist who coined the term rites of passage, showed how rituals help humans navigate transitions. In companies, rituals create what Etienne Wenger, who studies communities of practice, calls moments of belonging. Asana, the project management software company, has this ritual called areas of responsibility. Each person stands up and publicly claims their domain, not as a job assignment, but as a personal mission. I own making sure our customers never feel lost. It's the difference between having a job description and having a calling. Francesca Gino and Michael Norton, behavioral scientists at Harvard, proved that even tiny rituals work. A team that always starts meetings with the same weird check-in question performs better than teams that just dive into business. The ritual doesn't have to be profound, it just has to be yours. One team I knew started every meeting by sharing their worst joke. Sounds stupid, but it turned a group of strangers into a tribe. Reflection practices. Actually learn from what happens. John Dewey, the education philosopher, said, "We don't learn from experience, we learn from thinking about experience." Without reflection, T.S. Eliot wrote, "You can have the experience but miss the meaning entirely." Like going to Paris and only remembering the airport. The U.S. Army created maybe the best reflection tool ever, the After-Action Review. After every mission, whether it's a training exercise or actual combat, everyone involved sits down and asks 4 questions. What was supposed to happen? What actually happened? Why the gap? What do we learn? No blame, no rank in the room, just honest reflection. They turned every screw-up into a lesson, every success into a template. Bill Gates takes Think Weeks. Twice a year, he disappears with a stack of books and reports. No meetings, no email, just reading and thinking. These aren't vacations, they're meaning-making retreats. When you're drowning in daily tasks, you can't see the bigger picture. You need to step outside to see what you're actually building. Connection practices. Remember everyone's human Martin Buber, the Jewish philosopher, distinguished between 2 ways of relating to people. I-it relationships treat people like objects. The cashier is just hands that give change. Your colleague is just someone who sends reports. I-thou relationships see the whole person. Meaning only happens in I-thou moments. The Cleveland Clinic was technically excellent, but patients hated them. They fixed this with empathy rounds, regular meetings where caregivers don't discuss medical procedures but human moments. A nurse shares how she sat with a scared patient all night. A surgeon admits he had to leave the OR to cry after losing someone. A janitor describes how a patient's face lit up when he learned they're from the same town. These sessions don't teach empathy through PowerPoint. They create it through vulnerability. When you hear your colleague's voice crack talking about a patient, they stop being that person from radiology and become human. The hospital's patient satisfaction scores skyrocketed, but that's not the point. The point is that everyone remembered why they went into medicine in the first place. These practices work because they're practices, things you do regularly, not once at a retreat. Meaning isn't a one-time installation like software. It's more like fitness. You have to keep working at it or it atrophies. The companies that get this build these practices into their bones, making them as routine as checking email, but infinitely more important. The technology of meaning. Can artificial intelligence create meaning? No. A machine can't make your life meaningful any more than a hammer can build a house by itself. But AI can create conditions where meaning grows, like good soil for a garden. The trick is designing systems that amplify human meaning-making instead of crushing it. Augmentation, not automation. Eric Brynjolfsson and Andrew McAfee, MIT researchers who study technology's impact on work, make a crucial distinction. Some tech replaces humans, like ATMs replacing bank tellers, while other tech makes humans more capable, like microscopes making scientists more powerful. Meaningful work happens when AI takes the boring stuff so humans can do the human stuff. Look at Inlytic, a company that makes AI for reading medical scans. Their system doesn't replace radiologists, it's more like giving them superhuman eyes. The AI handles the mind-numbing pattern recognition, checking thousands of normal scans, which frees the radiologist to actually talk to scared patients, tackle the weird, complex cases that need human intuition, and teach the next generation of doctors. The radiologist spends less time squinting at screens and more time doing what made them want to be doctors in the first place. It's the difference between a calculator replacing mathematicians and a calculator letting mathematicians tackle bigger problems. One kills meaning, the other creates it. Transparency, not opacity. When you can't see how your work connects to anything, meaning dies. It's like being a single pixel in a picture you never get to see. You're changing from red to blue all day, but for what? AI needs to show people the picture. Flexport, a logistics company that handles shipping, built what they call an impact dashboard. Sounds corporate, but it's actually brilliant. The AI optimizes all the complex shipping routes, but then it shows each worker exactly what their piece meant. The warehouse worker who took an extra minute to pack something carefully sees, "Your packaging prevented $10,000 in damage claims." The person planning routes sees, "Your optimization saved 100 tons of CO2, equivalent to taking 20 cars off the road for a year." Same work, completely different feeling. Instead of "I moved boxes today," it becomes "I saved a small business from bankruptcy." The AI doesn't create the meaning, but it makes it visible, like turning on lights in a dark room where meaning was always there. Participation, not imposition. Meaning can't be forced on people. It's like trying to make someone fall in love by showing them a PowerPoint about why they should. People need to discover meaning themselves, and AI should help that discovery, not dictate it. Google's famous 20% time policy, where engineers spend Fridays working on whatever they want, produced Gmail, Google News, and AdSense. Combined, these projects are worth billions, but that's not why they're meaningful. They're meaningful because someone chose to build them. The engineer who created Gmail wasn't assigned to revolutionize email. He was annoyed by his own inbox and decided to fix it. The AI tools at Google support these passion projects, providing computing power, analyzing data, suggesting improvements, but they don't tell people what to care about. It's like having a really smart assistant who helps you build whatever you're excited about, not a boss telling you what to be excited about. This flips traditional AI implementation completely around. Instead of asking, "How can AI make humans more efficient?" we should ask, "How can AI help humans do more meaningful work?" Instead of, "How can AI control quality?" we ask, "How can AI reveal impact?" Instead of, How can AI direct effort? We ask, how can AI support choice? The pattern is clear. AI that enhances human agency creates meaning. AI that replaces human agency destroys it. When the med-tech company Intuitive Surgical built their Da Vinci surgical robot, they didn't build an autonomous surgeon. They built a system that translates a surgeon's hand movements into incredibly precise micro-movements. The surgeon is more in control, not less. The surgery is more human, not less. We're at a crossroads. We can use AI to turn humans into meat robots, following algorithmic instructions with no understanding or agency. Or we can use AI to make humans more human, more creative, more connected, more capable of finding and making meaning. The technology itself is neutral. The choice is ours. But here's what most companies miss. Meaningful work isn't just nicer for employees. It's more profitable. When people find meaning in their work, they don't need to be managed, monitored, or motivated. They show up early, stay late, and solve problems you didn't even know existed. Meaning is the ultimate competitive advantage, and AI can either amplify it or destroy it. Choose wisely.